Hey guys, I know it's November, but damn it, my summer has been boring as hell and I don't know what to do today. Well, at least it's better than nothing.
Phineas and Ferb, the 2007 hit Disney show where two stepbrothers, that's the name of the show, build stuff that may or may not should be legal, but whatever, it's a cartoon. And their sister named Candace tries to get them caught by their mother, but their pet platypus named Perry is a secret agent who tries to stop his arch nemesis, Dr. Heinz Doofenshmirtz, from destroying the tri-state area with his innators, but it always keeps failing and hits Phineas and Ferb's sting, and it always vanishes and the mom never investigate. Not one bit. And that's it, the end. And repeat that for 222 episodes, and you, sir, have a great TV show with an extra 2 seasons coming soon. Yeah. Okay, enough recapping. Let's just get straight into what we're doing. In August of 2011, Disney Channel decided to release Phineas and Ferb's first movie as a DCOM called Phineas and Ferb The Movie Across the Second Dimension, but it did get a theatrical release in Spain for some reason, and somehow it got a wide video game release developed by High Impact Studios, which is very rare for a DCOM that's not High School Musical. The game was released on the Wii, DS, PS3, and PSP, which is impressive for a 2011, because the PSP was at its deathbed at this point. Anyways, I will be playing the PS3 version because I don't want to experience motion controls today. And on the PS3 version specifically, it has 4 episodes in Blu-ray quality. 3 out of 4 are good ones, but I don't know about that last one though. Okay, let's get into the game. It starts with basically a recap of half the movie. Well, the show, you can watch any episode and not feel lost, but I feel like you actually have to watch the movie to understand what this is about. And I did like more than 12 times. It's shocking that this game has a song specifically for this called Gotta Get Gone, and it might be one of the most underrated songs in the entire franchise. And we get to our first level where the entirety of Danville is covered in grape jello, and thankfully they got the original cast to voice and not have a J. Jonah Jameson from Spider-Man 2 2004, but we'll get to that later at some point. And as you can see, this is a shoot 'em up. Yes, there's a difference between a shoot 'em up and a third-person shooter, with baseball launchers that was also featured in Disney Infinity, and other weapons to defeat Jello monsters and stuff. The controls, they're fine, they get the job done, especially for a game about shooting robots voiced by John Family Guy Wiener with baseballs. There's some of these blueprints that you have to build, like the platypult from the actual movie and a receiver for the other Dimensionator, but this game kind of fell flat on its face for knowing why everybody knows Doofenshmirtz or that Perry is a secret agent now. But the first level is basically how this game works, but the real stuff doesn't really start until we get to the next level. But before the next mission, we have to do some boring ass games like a Perry version of Skee Ball and a claw game that takes way too goddamn long than it should be. The next level is the usual sewer level that's also covered in jello, and we have to build an anti-gravity ray, whereas they call it an anti-gravity ray, and we get to upgrade our gadgets and stuff.
I'm so through with gelatin. Forever.
Yeah, me too.
After so much combat, our first boss is the gelatin monster from the first segment of Season 2, Episode 4. Perry shows up with some random turtle named Terry the Turtle. Jesus, that was a lot of alliteration, holy crap. That was in the movie for like a second and a half, where we use Orange Crush, and later, we crush them and eat them. That's definitely someone's fetish. After that, Major Monogram gave us more information about Terry the Turtle, and now we have to get rid of the jello, but eventually, we get to the most boring parts of the game, the jetpack missions. Most of the time, you can't shoot for shit. Most of the time it misses, and it's mostly empty atmosphere. The next level, we actually dive into more of the Orange Crush gun by dissolving the jello without needing a boss. But also, we use the anti-gravity ray more as well, and we shoot more jello monsters and robots to add more variety. And we get to the next cutscene where Phineas drains out all the jello and Ferb saying something about it going counterclockwise. Now, we're done with the jello dimension. The next level is about balloons for some reason, and you have to set up these guns that shoot up water balloons at the robots, but they don't work most of the time, so you're better off using the baseball launchers instead of those water balloons. And that was pretty much the entire first level, which was a horrible start, but let's see how the other levels in this dimension goes. The next level is finally an actual level for once, and porcupines are the main enemy, but the thing that confuses me is that on the more hard balloons, why didn't they pop as well as the normal balloons? After Ferb trying to kill himself, we get to a son of a bitch! Okay, that's the last time I'll complain about the jetpack missions. The next level's intro is about bees for some reason.
No, not the bees! Not the bees! Ah!
Well, if I were a bee, I'd be angry too.
Okay. Carry on. Our next gadget are these gloves that make you stick to walls, and it's as useful as... Actually, I don't know. We get on these big balloons, and we shoot the fuck out of these porcupines to make sure we stay afloat. Okay, one popped, but we're still afloat. And that's it for the balloon dimension. Now we're in an old cartoon dimension. We start with going on an old boat, trying to carry around cargo with the anti-gravity ray. We eventually get to deliver this picnic basket in a core maze, and I kinda got stuck. But eventually, I delivered it back to that dimension's Phineas, but we have to go back to delivering hay to the cows in the beginning. Finally, we get to build another gadget where it's basically a hacker gun, and we have to beat the so retro enemies, and done. And apparently we're done with this dimension already? Alright then. Thank God we get to my favorite dimension, the gnome dimension. I don't know why this is my favorite, but yeah. Most of this level is us getting the parts to build this giant gnome, but it kind of works than just the 3 to 5 separate levels. But even then, that would make the game way shorter. I forgot to mention this, but every time when there's a slide, I always get out of there maybe once or twice each time, because it's hilarious that they just fly like they're nothing. Oh, I forgot that we even have bosses, but our boss is the Goozum from the beginning of the movie and the game, but apparently sometimes you get eaten by it. I can definitely tell that's someone's fetish, and he just falls off the edge like it's no big deal. Okay, now we're back to the actual second dimension the game and movie is based off of. And we're supposed to turn on these switches so that we can ride on these mine cars, so that we can get further into other dimension Doofenshmirtz's place. And we have the last gadget, and it's probably the most useless one, and that's the Alka agent beacons. All you do is just get a random animal agent, and that's it. And we do it again and again and again. This is probably the most boring one so far. The next level, we pretend to be Doofenshmirtz and tour the robot factory, but how did she not know that there's 2 small Doofenshmirtzes in the same room? Okay, I might have skipped about a couple of minutes into the game because it's boring as hell, but we made a self-destruct button and we have to run away from the factory before it explodes. But it doesn't get interesting until we have to fight Norm with Queen Elizabeth I from Season 1, Episode something. But we get to our second to last platforming location, where we just roam the streets by shooting the robots. Yeah, it's not really that much interesting at all. And for the last platforming levels, you use cranes to find objects for building a drill, Ferb trying to kill himself some more, and using more of the anti-gravity ray. And we finally get to our final boss. But we have to deal with first dimension Doofenshmirtz being in a super monkey ball, and it's simple enough. You just wait for him to stop, and then jump to make him feel weaker, while you're just going in circles. But we do defeat him at some point, and apparently this doof, literally, pushed the button that turns himself into a huge robot of his second dimension counterpart, and that's our actual final boss. It's too easy. I get it, it's for children, but at least put something to make it more difficult. All you do is just ignore the lasers and shoot something into that door in the middle, and that's it, the end. Our last cutscene is Other Dimension Phineas making a vlog about how they're spending their first summer vacation after Doofenshmirtz took over, and they made a reference to the first episode.
Oh, hey Ferb, you're back with the plans. And you got the blowtorch. But what's the peanut butter for? Well, that's my cue. We're off to build the coolest roller coaster ever. Hey Ferb, you got enough rivets up there?
And then the credits roll. That was such an average game, but I couldn't say that I kinda liked it. And that's the end of the main console version, and I almost finished it in a single sitting, but I kind of fell asleep while playing it, and it clearly shows. But let's talk about the different versions of this game, more specifically, the DS version, which I don't have, but Nathan does, right?
What?
Ha 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 ha! Anyways, the DS version kinda sucks. Instead of being a shoot 'em up, it just feels like an out-of-the-mill platformer. But there's some different dimensions than the console version, like dimensions ranging from ancient Egypt, music, to even Toy World or some sort. And since it's on DS, it can't handle 6 long dimensions, but it can handle 5 7-level dimensions. Like, that's any better. And instead of co-op, you can choose either Phineas, Ferb, or Perry in a single-player event without your friends, cause you know how gamers are. But thank God they don't have the jetpack missions. Fuck those. While the PSP version is just what you expect from the PSP, it's basically the console version on a handheld, and for 2011, this is actually pretty impressive, considering it's almost at death's door with LEGO Harry Potter Years 5 through 7, another licensed kids game, being its last game in North America, but the physical edition of Across the Second Dimension is European only, for some reason, but thank God the PSP is region-free, at least game-wise. And I'm done. Huh. Weird. Anyways.
So to conclude my review, Phineas and Ferb Across the Second Dimension is pretty good. Not like best game of all time worthy, but it's pretty good for an early 2010s kids game. But in the end, they all can't be winners.